Each movie will be graded by a letter like we used to be graded in elementary school.
Now, I give this movie a solid B. Sex and the City 2.
Hey, I like that. I'm kidding, I didn't like that at all.
Good.
In the Theater with J&K.
My head is full of doubts. When it's time to step on the wire, I don't know if I'll be able to take my first step.
Your heart will tell you what to do.
The man is obviously crazy. Are we just here to watch him die?
This isn't a game, Philippe. One mistake out there, and you're going to die.
Our next movie is The Walk, a Robert Zemeckis film starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt that retells the story of Philippe Petit, who was the man who hung a high wire between the Twin Towers in the 1970s. And that's it. The movie literally is...
Really?
The movie literally is the retelling of this guy who pretty much did probably... one of the scariest things you can ever imagine a person willingly doing. I mean, hanging a high wire between the two tallest buildings in the world at the time is pretty unbelievable. And the film itself is unbelievable. And I mean that in a good way. Jesse, what?
Another example of a movie that does talking to the camera really well. Because he narrates.
Yes. And I will admit, the talking to the camera, I mean, I think it's worth comparing this to Jersey Boys in a way. Just because I only have two real problems with this movie. The first is, well, I think most of the acting is solid. My biggest problem with this movie is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's accent is a little hokey. I mean, I know he's supposed to be French, but he sounds almost like Pepe Le Pew French.
That depends.
And
have you ever met anybody who's like just a few months away from being away from Paris or something like that?
I guess you could say that. But like I said, the narration for this film, I don't think it's awful, but it does feel a little weird.
Why?
I don't know. Just the fact that this guy is just standing in front of the World Trade Centers on the Statue of Liberty, just retelling his whole story. And usually they would just do that with a voiceover or narration, but you actually see him telling us the story. And I think that is clever, but at the same time it does come off as just, I don't know, kind of silly. What are your thoughts on The Walk?
The Walk is a visual masterpiece with a captivating story and superb acting. It was intense, thrilling, and emotional. I didn't see it in theaters, and I thought, I don't know how I'm going to be able to review this because watching it on a laptop or a TV isn't going to be the same because you really want the big screen so that way all the escaping shots of, you know, him on the wire. But I did half of it on my TV and half of it on my laptop, and both, especially on my laptop, it was still just as intense. Because as he's walking on the wire and you see it below, you're like, I don't want to fall, I don't want to fall, I don't want to fall.
Thing is, because it's based on a true story, a lot of people knew going in what was going to happen. But honestly, when you see this guy on the wire, you feel like you're in the present. You feel like this is real. You feel like, I don't care if it's green screen. It feels like he's on the wire. The first 2/3 of this movie are basically him planning for this walk, and then it happens. And when you see him on the wire, when you see all this hard work and all this planning that went into it, you're both cheering for him, and at the same time, you're terrified that he'll fall.
When I saw the trailer for it, I think I saw the trailer for it in front of... I don't know what movie I would have seen the trailer for, but might have been... Anyways, I thought at first that it was the story of the guy who went across the falls, and that's Nick Wallenda. So I briefly Googled the name of the movie just to make sure if it was Nick Wallenda or not, and it wasn't, and it was, Philippe. So as soon as I knew that it was, I'd actually never heard of him. So I erased all knowledge, even to this point, and it got so intense midway through the movie when he's on the wire. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Thankfully, it was very well done. The cinematography was great, and I actually do regret missing it in theaters.
It is one of those movies, especially when you get to that last third. It's one of those movies you gotta see in theaters. And also, I noticed there was this one little joke in there that it's in the trailer, and I'm just like, they just hit it hard. Where they're when they're just arriving at the airport, and the customs are asking, "What are you here in New York for?" And it's so easy for him to just get through airport security. It's almost like they're referencing or the leading factors that led to these towers. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what happened.
Yeah. The acting in the movie is superb. Mm-hmm. Joseph Gordon-Levitt did a fantastic job in the movie. Robert Zemeckis did a great job, and the movie is intense and thrilling. I
dare say this is probably up there with Forrest Gump as one of his best films.
So. In the end, The Walk is a visually thrilling and intensely told masterpiece. It boasts beautiful cinematography, flawless CGI, great acting and direction, and a captivating story. This is truly a movie to behold in theaters, but it's still intense on the smaller screen. The Twin Towers are beautifully portrayed, and actually at the end of the movie, it kind of got to me because, we know. And he was talking about how when the towers were built, he was given a pass to always go up to the observation deck, and most of those passes expired, but the guy in charge wrote
Lifetime,
and the camera kind of pans away from Philippe, and it goes towards the towers, and you realize that scene is in there specifically
to show
the fact that lifetime ticket
in about 28 years time.
So.
Mm-hmm. But what makes this movie good is just the size of it. It doesn't just come from the cinematography. It comes from the characters are big. The towers, my God, they're exactly like the original Twin Towers. And it's just like when James Cameron recreated the Titanic. You just feel the weight, the size of this whole movie. I think it's one of the best. I think it's going to fare good at the Oscars. And for me, this gets a solid A+.
I'm proud to say that this is one of the best and most satisfying movie experiences of 2015. Regardless of whether or not you're watching on the small screen or the big screen. It'd be really amazing to see in the biggest IMAX theater.
Oh, I really wish I didn't get the chance to see this in IMAX, but by God, if it gets re-released in IMAX, I'd pay double to see it. But again, A+ for me. What do you give it?
A+ as well. It's probably the best movie on our list. We didn't really talk about Academy Award winners,
but the official list doesn't come out yet. But also, there's one thing else. I love the way Robert Zemeckis directed this movie. And thinking about it, I would love it if he directed a Terry Fox biography. If he put the same effort and the same approach to do a retelling of one of our national heroes, Terry Fox, I think it would be a really engaging film. Right up there with Forrest Gump and this. What do you think of that?
Forrest Gump and The Walk are something very, very... have a very, very similar idea in the fact that the visuals are very... big part of the movie.
But visually, the Terry Fox story is a bit on a
It would be very minimal, and quite frankly, they did a Terry Fox TV movie. I forget who starred in it.
But it would be nice if someone Zemeckis brought a story like that to the worldwide big screen, because Terry Fox, even though he's a great hero, he's really only not many Americans know a lot about him.
That, just speaking from a filmmaker's perspective, that means that he's not very marketable.
Of course.
Canadian Pride, one day maybe Kevin should go make it. I don't know. If Kevin made it, I'd probably watch it, because it'd probably be just as bad as The Room.
I thought you loved The Room.
Oh, I do.
Then you'd love this.
Yeah, but I love The Room because it's bad.
So, on to our next movie. I'm sure you know which one it is.
I do. Alvin and the Chipmunks 4.
The Road Trip.
You remember the discovery.
Get out!
I'm waiting for the ring cycle.
The bonding.
I had a nightmare. Can I sleep with you?
Sure, but stay on that side of the bed.
And those special moments that made them a family.
Yep, nobody does that better than him.
The Monks are growing up.
Samantha, these are my boys.
Enchanté.
I can tell that you're trouble.
Guilty as charged.
But something unexpected
I've always wanted a mom.
is going down.
This is my son, Miles.
What?
Chip shot. No hard feelings, huh? Samantha's coming with me to Miami.
New job, new house, new family.
I can feel the bonding happening already. Where's the super glue?
Right.
4. That's 4. You know how many of these movies I saw in theaters? 4. Once, because I wanted to. The other 3 times, because...
You were forced to.
I wasn't forced to. It's kind of interesting to see how low these movies go. The camera person is the main addition to seeing these movies.
I feel sorry for the camera person on these films.
Alvin, Simon, and Theodore have come to believe that Dave is going to propose to his new girlfriend in Miami, and in doing so, he will dump them. They have 3 days to get him and stop the proposal, saving themselves not only from losing Dave, but possibly from gaining a terrible stepbrother. What did you think?
I was sitting in the movie theater at the edge of my seat when the drugs had to take hold. The only weird thing was I wasn't on any drugs. It was Alvin and the Chipmunks, and then by far, it just got worse and worse. This movie was a rock that was tumbling down a very smooth hill. Actually, no, it wasn't very smooth. It was very... I wish I was high or drunk when I watched this movie, because it felt like this movie was a very bad drug. The effects... Alright, I'm not doing this. The effects...
Probably a good thing. You're scared.
I just thought it would be a good introduction. I watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas last week. So, the effects... They don't look real. They even for the Chipmunks, they're just getting more annoying and more annoying. I mean, the Chipmunks were classic when they just did nostalgic songs. When they keep doing stuff like Uptown Funk and...
I have to argue there. They did like the cover of I Like Big Butts. That's not good. The Uptown Funk cover was actually pretty okay, because they didn't always do nostalgic songs. They had a country album like when they released CDs, so it was...
Their Christmas songs are okay.
Yeah, but it was also very much like in the Muppets, where they would have current celebrities come and do songs.
Mm-hmm.
They did Achy Breaky Heart with Billy Ray Cyrus and stuff like that. So it's not like they only do nostalgic stuff, so it makes sense.
But they seem to fit best when they do nostalgia.
I don't think so.
Well, sometimes. For me, this movie just felt like one giant waste of time. Like, I'm not going to say the Chipmunk characters are... The original characters are awful. For this film, the only one I could really invest my mind in was probably Simon. And even in the original show, he was the one was the only one I really paid attention to or cared about.
Theodore.
Yeah, you kind of look like him.
Thank you.
And if I had actual glasses, I'd probably look like Simon. Still, when we poke you, you do sound like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. Fuck you! Anyways, being a Alvin and the Chipmunks connoisseur, I've seen them at their best, which would be the first, and at their worst, which would be the third. This movie falls in between the first, second, and third. It wasn't as bad as the third, even though the camera person strongly disagrees. The reason why it wasn't as bad as the third, I actually don't know, because it had a lot of bad about it. Like, I can't believe, I'm impressed that it took them 4 movies to actually do a, let's throw a chipmunk into some guy's crotch joke. That bothered me.
I can't believe it took them that long.
Also, they had 2 chipmunk poop jokes. That was not good. But
only 2. I would have expected at least 9.
The first... Oh, no, I guess they didn't have 2. One was a chipmunk farting joke. So, anyways. It's funny in parts. There were some legitimately funny parts. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I will say there was probably only one moment of this film.
Oh, no. The thing that got me, I laughed really hard. Thank you, camera person. When they're about to leave the house and they replace themselves with squirrels. That was funny. The squirrels being all sleepy and sleeping on the table. It was cute. It was funny. And you knew that it was going to show up later. And at the end of the movie, when Dave's walking back, at first I forgot. Like, this is good. And then it was like...
Oh, right.
Oh, my God.
They're probably awake by now.
Bad jokes. Yeah, a lot of them. The chipmunk hitting the testicle joke, probably not good. Weird jokes, like when they're at Chuck E. Cheese and Alvin jumps on the table and says, "Look what I got," and he pulls out a stuffed version of himself and says, "I like his smile," or "I like his face," or whatever. It was really cute. And Jason Lee, Dave says, "Alvin, you know what? That's really funny." No, it wasn't. I don't understand why it was there.
It just felt like a lot of this movie just felt like really, it felt really forced. Like, oh, let's throw in this joke, let's throw in this joke, let's throw in this joke, and oh, this'll work, and then...
Yeah, because there's nothing like that. Let's throw in this joke, like calling you gay. Like, I mean, there are people watching this. They expect us to throw into anyways. I realized something as we were walking towards the theater, and it hurt me dearly. I was pained by this thought. And then when I came home and talked to my girlfriend, she was like, "You should be paying doubly." Because we didn't see it on the cheap night. We paid full price. Every movie. The first I wanted to see. The second, the third, the fourth. We're part of the reason why there's going to be a fifth.
That's right.
What was the title of the fifth that you came up with? Just say it. People know you're there. Okay, it was like Alvin and the Chipmunks 4 chipmunk fetuses implanted in humans.
How about the chip shit?
Our camera person just snorted. Anyways, did I enjoy... Yes, I enjoyed it more than the third one. That doesn't really say much. Made me laugh. They're fun movies to laugh at because they're so bad. Jason Lee is always good. I liked him in My Name is Earl. I liked him in the first. He wasn't really in the second one.
He was funny in The Incredibles.
Pardon?
He was funny in The Incredibles.
So anyways, Chipmunks, a D. I probably won't ever watch it again. I do watch the first one occasionally around Christmas. It has popped up once or twice. But I will probably not watch the fourth one again. What did you think?
For me, I gotta give it a D-. It's just...
So we kind of agree.
It's just felt like a big waste of time. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the worst movie based on a cartoon, because trust me, there are a lot worse movies based on cartoons. Like
there are a lot worse wastes of time.
Like there's Garfield the movie. There's The Last Airbender. That's just
the first Garfield movie wasn't that bad.
I thought it.
The second one was horrible. Marmaduke was really bad.
But yeah, I'd say this movie just gets a D, just because it felt like a giant waste of time. And the fact that this came out the same weekend as The Force Awakens, I think that was a sign that they more or less gave up. It's like The Force Awakens was the Death Star, and the Chipmunks franchise was Alderaan.
I'm kind of curious. I never once checked what the Chipmunks did in the box office.
I think it made about 68 million or something.
Yeah, well, it depends on the budget, right? Alvin and the Chipmunks 4, the Road Chip. Oh my God, 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
Well, let's guess how much money it's made. I have no idea. You said what?
68 million, I think.
Box office. Its total is $71.2 million.
Close.
So it's not the worst.
I know. But it doesn't even hold a candle. Not even close to a candle to The Force Awakens.
I think the first Chipmunks made like 260, 300. It did really well because they're still making them. But anyways.
Yeah. So, shall we get on to our next movie then?
Yeah. Because I'm excited for that one.
I don't like the sound of that. Our next movie is a Miyazaki film from Japan titled The Wind Rises. It is actually his last film before his retirement. It's about the story of a young engineer who was born with bad eyesight that wishes to become a pilot. But because he has such poor eyesight, he can't become a pilot, so he decides to become an engineer. And he eventually becomes the man who designs the World War II fighter planes. Now, many people would see this as a bad person, but the movie actually shows that all he really wants to do is create beautiful airplanes. He's not interested in war. He's not interested in killing people. He's not interested in creating powerful machines for his country. He just wants to be creative and innovative. And that's something you really got to appreciate for a lot of young artists. Jesse?
Nothing against Miyazaki. My favorite one of his films, and nothing will ever dethrone it because I grew up with it, Kiki's Delivery Service.
That's a good choice.
So, it will never top Kiki's Delivery Service. When you said that we had to watch it...
I mainly said because I know you weren't an avid fan of Miyazaki, and I'm actually a huge fan. Heck, I made 4 trailers based off his films, and I've got a Princess Mononoke poster, so...
Okay.
I just felt like... And back when we did the show, our good friend Rhea, she's a big Miyazaki fan, and around the time we were doing the show, The Secret World of Arrietty was coming out, and she strongly recommended we review that, but we never got around to reviewing it.
We had bigger fish to fry.
We sadly had bigger fish to fry. But when we decided to do this, I thought this would be the perfect chance for us to talk about another Miyazaki film, and wouldn't you know, The Wind Rises came out.
Alrighty. Because I knew it was his last before retirement, and I had heard good things, I had very high expectations before I watched this movie last night. I rented it.
Good.
I heard a ton of positive reviews, and as a Miyazaki movie, I expected it to be poetic, deeply touching, and all the stuff that you would expect from the ones that I've seen. Again, Kiki's Delivery Service always being on top for me. It seems numerous people felt that way when they saw it, but it didn't work for me in the tiniest bit. The Wind Rises is very repetitive. I couldn't count the amount of train rides, plane crashes, dream flights with Caproni, unsubtle hints on the movie's maxim, and repetitions of this quite pretty melody that becomes extremely annoying by the 10th time it's repeated. Seriously, almost all the film had one and the same melody. In my opinion, there was no story arc, no suspense, no tension. The movie is just 2 hours long and just a giant sequence of unrelated scenes glued together in no specific chronological order, no character or relationship development either, and even some plot holes. To me, Miyazaki gets none of it. The seriousness, the madness, and the cruelty of that era in history. This film is ill-conceived and unreflected, and I'm still amazed by its critical acclaim.
Jesse?
Definitely not a movie, yes.
Just warning you, the Studio Ghibli fans will destroy you. They will fry you alive.
Perfect. Definitely not a movie I'll recommend, except in a reflection upon whitewashing and Japan's blinkered examination of its own history.
Oh boy.
That being said, it was a very visually entertaining movie. I didn't much care for the content.
You want to hear what I have to say?
Yeah, of course. It's going to be the exact opposite. I knew it would be.
You're right, because I freaking love this movie. I found it to be... The amazing thing about Miyazaki is, with his movies, you can be watching little, but you can find yourself investing so much. Like in Kiki's Delivery Service, sometimes it's just her flying around making deliveries, yet you can invest yourself so much in her because she has so much determination to become an independent woman. And here, it's kind of the same thing. Hito, our main character, his focus is he just wants to create beautiful airplanes. And in the end, that's what he does. And the film, it's not trying to... This is not an anti-war film. It's not trying to focus entirely on the war. It is just trying to focus on this man trying to make his dreams come true. And that's something you really got to appreciate. In a world where a lot of people are struggling to make their dreams come true, but are constantly blocked by other people's opinions or visions, or just sometimes it's money and war, you really got to appreciate this guy and the drive he puts in.
No. And I didn't.
Well, I did.
I figured you would.
Alright, I only have maybe one or two
Was
problems.
it or was it not? It was very repetitive.
It doesn't matter if it's repetitive. That's the thing with Miyazaki. All you have to... He puts so much life and so much... He's trying to make this feel real, and he does. For me, at least. And I only have two real problems with the film. I found the romance in the film, and I found out it was fictionalized, to be very forced. I mean, it is revealed that, yeah, she has a severe illness and all, but I don't know. It just didn't feel like it flowed right.
And very little relationship development.
That I sadly have to agree with you. I'm sorry, but I sadly have to agree with you on that. My other problem is there's this animation on this one guy that's trying to help him. He's got these big gray eyes or something, and it just doesn't... Looks really creepy.
Yeah, I know. People with weird eyes are creepy, Kevin.
just the way he's designed. That's my only problem. But I still highly recommend The Wind Rises. I don't think it's Miyazaki's best film. I'm not even sure if I would put it anywhere in his top 5. But I gotta give this guy props. This is, in a way, a film about him. How he is trying to just put so much hard work and dedication into a rather underappreciated genre.
If you like his work, and I'm not a giant fan, like I'm not gonna gush about him. As I said, it's visually, I can appreciate the visuals and everything, and the story in parts is okay. If you like his work, you'll probably like this movie. I grew up with Kiki's Delivery Service, so I have a sentimental touch to it. I haven't watched it in a while. Will I watch this movie again? No, probably not. Maybe, but probably not. And I don't feel like I'm going to miss much by not watching it.
Like I said, Miyazaki films, you don't need to be watching much, but you can find yourself so invested. Like with Spirited Away, there's this
Spirited Away was very good.
Spirited Away is freaking unbelievable. But with Spirited Away, there's this one scene where she and the character No Face are traveling on a train to visit the Good Witch, and that's pretty much it. It's just the two of them traveling on a train, and you could more or less cut it from the film altogether, but it adds an unbelievable level of depth and atmosphere to this film. Like I said, scenes. That's the thing with Miyazaki films. Some of them you could say it's got a lot of filler, and some of it could be cut out. But those scenes, they're just filled with so much atmosphere and so much dedication that you can't press the fast forward button.
Well, I can. I had to watch it last night, and then I had to watch The Walk. So, I mean, I didn't fast forward through it, but I probably could have. I was up till 6 a.m., Kevin.
But still, I strongly recommend, if you're a Miyazaki fan, if you're an animation fan, check out The Wind Rises. I think it's well worth your time, and like I said, I don't think it's in Miyazaki's top 5, but I think it's a good send-off to his career. A for me.
If you like Miyazaki, that's fine. If you're an animation fan, that's fine. See it. If you like Miyazaki, see it. That's fine. If you're a good movie fan, stay away. Just saying. D, will move on.
You realize the fans will kill you.
All 7 of them.
All 7? What a story, Jesse. Actually, it's more like 7 million.
7 million. I'm talking about fans of our show.
People love Miyazaki.
That's great.
All right.
That's awesome. You know what else people like?
What?
Drugs. That doesn't make them legal.
All right. What is our...
For you, I can make an exception. You'd probably be a little bit better if you, smoked a little bit of...
the wacky tobacco?
The wacky tobacco, the reefer, whatever you want to call it, the pot.
What is our next movie?
Marijuana. I would be very terrified of you on cocaine, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. But you're no Scarface. But our next movie is The Martian, starring Matt Damon.
I guarantee you that at some point, everything's gonna go south on you.
Ready?
And you're gonna say, this is it. This is how I end.
Commander, Mark is dead. We have to go now.
Now you can either accept that, or you can get to work. This will come as quite a shock to my crewmates, and to NASA, and to the entire world. But I'm still alive. Surprise.
During a storm on Mars, the astronaut Mark Watney is hit by an antenna and presumed dead by his captain and crew. Captain Melissa Lewis seeks him out and decides to departure. We later find out that he has survived and find out that they have left enough supplies that he is able to supply or survive for a short period of time. Meanwhile, NASA and the scientists find that Mark is alive, and they try at any cost to bring him back to Earth, while also figuring out whether or not they're going to tell the crew that abandoned him. What did you think?
Well, I just watched it last night, and I liked it. I didn't think it was anything that's going to go down in history as one of the best films ever made. But I still enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of like Castaways, but in space.
Okay.
I liked Matt Damon's performance. I wish there was more Jeff Daniels in this. Because when I watch him, it's like I'm watching his show, The Newsroom. Just because how he's so critical and so open about his opinions. Whether they be right or wrong, you got to appreciate him for what he has to say. I like how visually interesting it is, even though it is pretty much a red planet. But I like how it feels like the film makes you feel like it's actually set on Mars. Like, literally. You feel like this guy's on Mars.
You do. They did a very good job with that. Really, for me, it's a mix of Gravity, Castaway, and Apollo 13. But it also tries to be funny and groovy like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. You've got The Martian, this movie. Really, there's not that much bad. You said it looks like Mars. It does. They depict Mars very, very well. My issue is the length.
Oh, yeah.
That's one major thing. It's 141 minutes, which for me is about 20 minutes too long, maybe 30. There were too many mentions of the disco music, which was funny, but it did get annoying.
I actually thought it started out annoying, but then it just got funnier, especially right at the end. And I agree. Like, the film does feel like it drags a bit, and I actually maybe would have liked it better if a distress call wasn't made till maybe midway through the film. Like, it happens about 1/4 of the way through, but I feel like it would have been heavier if the first whole half of this movie was focused on him trying to survive on Mars.
It's a subjective thought. Matt Damon did a good job.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think,
except for one time, and you may not have seen it if you're watching it on your computer. They showed a body double, and it was very noticeable that it was a body double, and that bothered me. And I don't know why it bothered me. I think it was because it was just so noticeable. But other than that, it was okay. Everybody did a very good job.
It's a movie I think Ridley Scott and the whole cast and crew should be proud of.
Who? You said Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
You didn't know his name.
I'm mispronunciation.
Okay. Well, sorry, Kevin. Let's move on.
Sorry, Jenna.
That's a misspelling. A lot of the characters were good. The storytelling was fine, but there were some unnecessary characters along the way. But it was very well done. It was suspenseful. It was very good. You got to see Mars. You got to see what Mars would look like, so we say. And you also got some cool space shots. But I think you have to save the space shots for the next movie. I would give The Martian, an A as well. We've had lots of A's today.
I give it just an A-. They could have cut it down a little bit more, but I agree with most of the points you've made on The Martian. I think it's a solid film, but it could have been cut down a bit more.
I'd say it could have been 20 minutes shorter.
Well, 9 down, 1 to go, and I think we all know what the next movie is.
You want to know a behind-the-scenes secret? We've been recording this for 7 hours. I'm tired. I want to go home. This is my home, but I want to go home. Anyways.
He wants me to get the hell out of here.
I'd be okay with doing dinner with you, but apparently your girly digestive system can't eat Chinese food.
Well, there is only one movie left, and I think most people know which one it is.
The Room 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Actually, I think it's called Front Door Jesse 6.
Before you said mouth to mouth, that's kissing. By saying backdoor Kevin, that means that people are sticking their penis in your asshole. Who comes out on top? Probably anybody who's raping you. Anyways. Well, they wouldn't, because then they'd have to live with the rest of their life realizing that they raped Kevin Murphy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's...
Alright, let's just get to the last movie on the list.
Guess what? It's Star Wars. Big shocker.
Well...
it's Star Wars The Force Awakens. Sorry.
Well, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, I suggest you skip this part.
You're gonna spoil stuff?
It's set 30 years after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, spoiler alert!
And the new bad guys are looking for Luke Skywalker, who's gone missing.
The bad guys.
And there's this new... there are a bunch of new characters that are trying to look for him. Also, Stormtroopers still can't aim shit.
That's true.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it. The dark side. The Jedi. They're real.
The Force. It's calling to you. Just let it in.
What were your thoughts on The Force Awakens? Do you think it was worth the wait?
As I begin to talk, just don't interrupt. Let me get to my point. Okay? This movie has no Star Wars feeling. None. No deep dialogues about the Force and almost no background about what happened in the period between Episode 6 and this one. The dialogue between Rey and Finn sound like modern teenagers talking. First real dialogue between them, Finn asks Rey if she has a boyfriend. Horrible. I'm just kidding. The plot... I'm just kidding. The plot, however, is very simple. There's nothing new, and everything seems to be recycled from the original trilogy. The Empire, la-da-da, Tatooine, etc., etc. I think that this is what is going to make people either love or hate this movie. If you're waiting for something fresh, you didn't get it. Wasn't really that fresh. But if you, as me, wanted to remember of the good, the great of the Star Wars days, you'll probably like it. But I do have bad things. But what did you think?
My thoughts on The Force Awakens were... It was well worth the wait. I've been waiting for about 10 years to see a new Star Wars movie. And after having to sit through all the bad dialogue and racist moments in the prequels... This actually felt like the Star Wars movie I wanted to see back in 1999. This felt like what the Phantom Menace should or could have been. Yeah. I like all the new characters. I like the new character Finn. I like that they're actually giving a stormtrooper some personality. I'm very interested and intrigued by Rey. I want to know, like the way they end it, I want to know who she is. And I want to know where they're going to go with her. I want to see her and Luke interact. And all the characters that are back from the original film, they're great as well. Han's back, and he's great. Chewie's back, and he's great. Leia's back. She's not as sexy as she used to be, but she's still great.
Wow. you might get in trouble for that. There was such a big thing about that. But anyways.
But visually, I still found it very interesting. It felt like a new Star Wars movie, but I'm probably gonna have to address the Rancor in the room. It's not him or me.
There's lots of good,
but my biggest problem is, and you brought it up as well, and a few people and other critics have brought it up as well, the plot feels recycled.
More recycled.
Or at least the starting point.
No, I say it's almost, it's more recycled than, say, Jurassic World was to Jurassic Park.
But my biggest problem is, basically, a droid carries a secret. The bad guys want that to destroy that secret. The good guys have to protect that droid. That's pretty much what happens both in this movie and in A New Hope.
But there is a lot of good. There's amazing new characters. The effects were great. The Force is shown very well.
Mm-hmm.
The Force is strong in The Force Awakens. BB-8. That was cute. You can't not like BB-8. No Jar Jar Binks.
Thank God.
And it does promise. You like Jar Jar Binks? Well, now we know that our camera person is officially mentally handicapped. And it does promise a good sequel. But there is a lot of bad. The events are taken way too fast. I mean, the weapon they used destroyed 4 planets, and no one talks about it in the entire movie. It just shows. And I was like, well, shit! 4 planets. No, whatever.
And one of them looked heavily populated.
The presentation of the new Death Star, and that's basically what it is. It is the new Death Star. Wow, it destroyed 4 planets, and now we
Starkiller 8 or something?
I understand what JJ wanted to do.
He likes to reimagine stuff.
I mean, in 30 years, a lot has happened, but I wanted a little bit more explanations.
Maybe that's what episode 8 is going to be for.
If somebody came to me, and I mean, I'm not J.J. Abrams, but if somebody came to me and said, would you direct the next Star Wars movie? First off, I'd be like, get out of my apartment. What the hell did you find me? I'd be like, no. I would have been too nervous, because if you took, and that's why they kind of kept it in with this one, because if he went too far, it wouldn't have been good. But as he's seen by the backlash, by staying too close, it's not good either. And the funny thing is,
like, I got to give the prequels a little bit of credit. At least they at least tried to be more original.
The funny thing is about, like, Phantom Menace, when it came out, people defended it.
Oh yeah.
They defended it for a long time before people realized it's not that good. And do you want to know something?
It's better than Battlefield Earth.
Yes, it's better than Battlefield Earth. It, not to the degree of a Phantom Menace, but it could happen here. 20 years from now, people could be like, I mean, we're almost 20 years from the Phantom Menace. People could be like, well, yeah, it's better than Phantom Menace, but it's not that great.
Yeah.
So I think it could happen here because it is very similar, but also at the same time, like, new characters. It's good to see Harrison Ford back. Makes me want him to do another Indiana Jones movie.
But true judgment for The Force Awakens, I don't think will come until Star Wars Episode 8 comes out.
Well, I'm thinking Star Wars Episode 8 and 9 to complete the third trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another thing. Like, it is hard to judge based on one movie alone, because that whenever a movie comes out, they never plan for just one movie. They want the sequels and stuff like that. So you can tell that there's story that needs to be told, so we're just waiting to find out what happens. I know some people are absolutely ticked off that they have to wait for the next one. For me,
actually, the wait isn't going to, compared to in the past, it's actually not going to be that long. It's coming out in it's coming out next year.
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and a spin-off film is coming out at the end of this year, Rogue One.
Yeah.
And it's going to be set between Sith and Hope.
But you see, regardless of whether or not it's 2 years or 4 years or 1 year, I am not going to lose sleep over it, Whereas a series that I love, like I wish that James Bond would come out every year. I enjoy those. I can't wait for the next Jurassic World. Will I see the next Star Wars? Of course. Is it going to do as well? Probably not.
It could.
The big hype was for this one. Like, now that we got it, it's going to be like, okay, we've seen Star Wars for this generation. So now we're going to, like, what can we do with it? And they have to be very careful, because if they put one foot out of line, they will tick off a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Like, if we get more racist aliens or more political talks or more midichlorians.
I think they didn't really have an issue. They could have toned down the political talk, but you could have used a little political talk in this one, because it would have been nice to know what had happened.
But, again, answers like that, I think, are going to be preserved for the next film.
We don't know.
We're just leaving things open to interpretation.
I know, but you can't judge it based on the next film. Because if you were judging based on sequels, yeah, the Anchorman's great, but I wish the fight would be better. I'm going to wait to see if I like the first movie, basing it off my opinion on the second.
But still, for me, I thought The Force Awakens was well worth the wait. It was a great amount of fan service. I just love the film. I got to give it a solid A.
Did you see it once, or have you seen it a few times?
I saw it twice.
You dressed up to go see it. I saw it once.
Yes, I dressed up as a Jedi to go see it.
Yeah. You would probably be a okay Jedi.
Well, thank you.
I say that only because I don't ever want you waving any type of phallic thing at me, ever. So.
Okay. You'd make a good Hut.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too. Didn't enjoy it as much as you. The Star Wars series in general, I grew up with people who love this series.
My best friend is a fanatical Star Wars fan.
Love the series. And I like the series. But I'm not rushing out to see it again. I enjoyed it. I might buy it. I'm sure the Blu-ray will have amazing special features, so I may buy it just for the special features. But really, at the end of the day, it was very good. It was very entertaining. So I will give it an A-, just based on the fact that they did make one that wasn't horrible. And hopefully they continue, because if they do screw up and the second one is under par compared to this one, people are going to jump ship.
Well, only the future will tell.
Only time will tell.
So that means we've certainly reviewed more positives than negatives. Are there any more? You said you briefly wanted to talk about Spectre, because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't. Obviously you don't like spy stuff, because you didn't see Mission Impossible either. Did you see The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
No.
So you don't like spy stuff at all. You're really like the number one person for liking spy stuff, because beautiful women, beautiful gadgets, good cars. It makes life seem a lot better than working in a paper plant, eh?
Do you want me to say turtle again?
Sure.
Turtle!
There you go.
The Master of Disguise is an amazing piece of art.
That's great. You keep saying that, and people are just going to know exactly what type of person you are.
Oh, God.
Spectre was fantastic. Very well acted. The only thing that bothered me really about the movie was at the beginning of the movie, there's a helicopter fight, and it was a very, 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 very dangerous helicopter fight for civilians, and it seems very un-James Bondish. They don't know if Daniel Craig is going to return, but if he doesn't, it makes a great trilogy of James Bond films, as long as you don't include Quantum of Solace in that list. But overall, Daniel Craig has done really well. Still love the series. I have them all. So, every single one of them. So I would give Spectre an A+ as well. I enjoyed it, and it will.
One movie I briefly wanted to talk about is probably the biggest animated film of our decade thus far. Frozen.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Frozen.
Kevin, let it go.
Yes, I did let it go.
I know, it stinks in here.
And I'm proud of it.
I wouldn't be. Chlamydia is a horrible thing, Kevin.
Frozen is... It's just really good. When I first heard about... When I heard the early reviews that say it's the best animated film since The Lion King, I was reacting like, that is a lot to buy, you know. That is a lot to buy. So I just... Alright, if they're going to make a claim like this, that it's as good as The Lion King, I got to see it to believe in. So I saw it, and when I first saw it, I thought, it's okay. Then I saw it a second time, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. The characters all feel updated, but not in a modern way. They feel like they're part of a Disney fairy tale, but they still feel very down to earth, very human. And the twist at the end, not to give it away, although I'm sure everyone's seen it, is actually a very clever twist. So, I like the songs. I love the animation. I just think Frozen is one of Disney's best works in years. I don't think it's up in the same league as, say, The Lion King or Fantasia, but I still think it's really worth checking out if you somehow have not seen it.
I saw it in theaters.
A.
Sorry, he gave it an A. I interrupted. I apologize. I saw it in theaters. When I saw it, I liked it. I really did. I liked it a lot. I liked it more than the person I went to see it in theaters with. Don't know why. But I did. And consequently, whatever. Anyways. I like the movie more than her. Anyways. My issue, I think, came with the constant bombardment of actually having to watch it over and over again. And I know people are like, well, if you don't want to watch a movie, don't watch it. As I said, I do baby photography. And when it came out, every home I went into was playing Frozen.
Yep.
Like, literally, in a week, I could watch the entire movie in clips. A few times. Every home. And now it's nice to see, because it still pops up occasionally, but it's mixed with Rapunzel and stuff like that. Or Tangled, sorry.
Yeah.
But, no, I do like it. I have a feeling that I'm going to be watching it again, just based on...
Its popularity?
Based on its popularity, based on the fact that people I know want to see it again. But, yeah. I didn't really have a problem with it. It's good. I would have loved to have built a snowman, but there's no snow. But I will let it go and just say I agree. An A as well.
Well, that's it.
It's not quite it. It has been 5 years since
J&K.
our first show. And a lot has happened in 5 years.
Yes.
We graduated and stuff like that. So, and we may not include all of this, but, you know, just how have you been?
How have I been?
You age well. You have the same amount of hair. I can't tell if you've put on any weight, but face maybe be a little bit rounder, but I think mine is too. But yeah, how have you been?
I have been, well, a lot has happened since graduation. I got a job on Princess Cruises.
Which I am totally, when I found out that he got the job, honest to God, it's the only time in my life that I've been jealous of Kevin Murphy. That jealousy ended earlier than I thought it would, but, you know, not quite 6 months of jealousy, but that's okay.
But, long story short, it didn't work out.
You know, cruise ships aren't for everybody.
I know that. And back and forth, I've been working some odd jobs. I worked at Chapman's Ice Cream for a bit.
Yum.
Yum indeed. And I helped out with a feature film that was shot in Owen Sound titled... You're going to laugh when you hear the title. The Hexecutioner.
I don't find it funny. I still don't understand why that's funny.
It's,
they were talking about it before
the camera person is laughing.
They were talking about it before, and he said the Hexecutioner. I'm like, why is it funny? Explain the humor.
I don't know. Just the way the title is, it sounds funny. And working on the film itself was a lot of fun.
Do you know what sounds funny?
What?
You.
Thank you.
Yeah. You really do have a face for radio. I guess that was you look funny more.
And you really have a voice for silent film.
Thank you. That hurts, actually, because I have a nice voice. But... Well, that's good.
And aside from that, aside from trying to get more work as a videographer, KD Media, I've been working on my own little trailer projects. I've actually made 34. I put up a trailer for Aladdin just the other day on my channel, and I've actually done the whole original 6 Star Wars films. And for some reason or another, my New Hope trailer has now exploded with views.
11,000.
And I try to come up with at least 1 or 2 trailers every week.
Like you make 1 or 2 trailers every week?
Yeah,
I don't have time for that. Holy crap.
Well, what about your life? Come on, rub it all in.
Not much to rub in, really. Since we stopped doing the radio show, that summer, I did a work term in Rome.
Nice.
It was very nice. It was very, very cool. Moved out on my own, not moved in with the camera girl, but lived with her briefly in the same house. I paid her rent. And moved out and stuff happened and all that. Managed an A&W. Got fired from the A&W for stupid reasons. Got a job as a baby photographer. So, if you ever need baby photography, 519-550-4549. Seriously, let's do it. And now I own a wedding videography, well, just a videography and photography business, Dulster Videography and Photography. 519-550-4549. And we shoot weddings kind of all over Ontario, Dominican, Jamaica, PEI. So, there's that. New surroundings, everything. 2014 was an interesting year. 2015 was a very interesting year. I kind of had to click reset on everything. But you know what? There was lots lost, but lots gained. So
yeah, and much more to gain in the new year.
Yeah, it's just going well, and maybe we'll do some work together if I ever get any weddings that I need.
And if I need any help with work where I know, I could give you a call.
That's good, because I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
And,
well, despite the bashes we take at each other, it's great working with you, man.
I will admit, I was thinking last night, do I really want to do this?
But I had already came all the way.
I know that, but I was thinking about it before I gave you my address, and I could have just ignored you. Would have probably pissed you off. And
oh, yeah.
But I could have.
But I probably could have made you pay for all the gas.
That's true. I don't know why. Why did you go to Welland, though?
Nostalgic reasons.
But you hated Welland.
It's a place I love to hate. And I'm sure most of our class could agree with me on that.
I don't like it because nobody in Welland buys baby photos. Anyways.
I just liked going to Welland because it really brought back some memories. Like the BRTF wig and even passing by good old Broadcast House. Broadcast House.
Is that 251 Woodlawn? Is that the one you were talking about? Which one was the Broadcast House?
The big party house we all...
251 Woodlawn. Yeah, and then today I was on my laptop about to, and you rang my buzzer, and there was a brief like, oh shit, he's here. And I looked at the camera person, and I think in her eye, or in my eyes, she saw fear. Or hope. So I walked over, and I buzzed, and my buzzer is sometimes finicky, so it didn't let you in. So I was walking down the stairs, I was like, you could just turn around. But I let you in, and I'm glad I did. We got to talk, I got to catch up, and after the cameras are done rolling, we'll probably talk a few more, and a bit more, and you know what? I would gladly do this every 5 years. I think every 1 year might be a bit much, because Like, I mean, I'm still trying to get over 3 seasons of radio shows with you. So
Yeah.
it's
But still, you never know what the future will bring.
no, that's true. We could be working together. You could. Have you ever thought? Well, I guess you didn't like the cruise ship work at the end. I was going to say, have you ever thought about applying on other cruise ships, or you just want to avoid it altogether?
Well, I just kind of want to move on with my life.
That's fair. Well, yeah, I don't really know how long this is going to be. It's probably very long. Nobody's probably watching at this point. I gotta give credit to the camera person. She's been jumping back and forth from the cameras.
Bravo to Tila.
So yeah, thank you to the camera person. She will be paid handsomely for this. She's going to be making $87 tomorrow. That's handsome. So, yeah. What's 2016 looking for movies? I can't think of anything.
The new Jungle Book.
Which I am absolutely not excited for.
I think it'll be good. I mean, Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, that works. And Bill Murray as Baloo.
We didn't talk about Avengers.
No.
That's weird. Avengers Age of Ultron. Liked it. Wasn't as good as the first one, but you know what? It was pretty good. Looking forward to Captain America. They say Spider-Man's going to appear in that one.
I think Ultron was good. Not as good as the first Avengers, but it's getting me hyped up for more Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, well, that's good. Anyways, Kevin David Murphy.
Jesse Dulster.
You don't know my middle name? Wow. Okay.
You never told me your middle name.
Well, that's because you weren't privy to my middle name. Kevin David Murphy of...
Walkerton, Ontario.
Yes. But more importantly, of KD Media, or KDM Media. He specializes in video production, photography, and graphic design. He is from Walkerton, the city of bad water.
Please don't bring that up.
It has been great to see you again, and I mentioned him, so also videography and photography, and Seaway Mall Cineplex. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
That is where we saw all the movies for our original show.
Yes, and we're still paying them off in references.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jesse and Kevin, or the J&K, on In the Theater with J&K, on our first physical appearance.
Yeah, forget. Camera adds 10 pounds. We're fine. This is in Jesse's living room with J&K.
Maybe the next one will be in Kevin's living room.
I don't want to drink bad water. So long.
Adios.